So Hugh Grant being canceled ends up wrecking one of AH's close friends and biggest defenders over this argument of quote-unquote being a gentleman. I mean, this is so crazy to watch too. And what's beautiful about it is this is the same argument that was used in trying to take down JD. See, Hugh Grant gave a standoff interview in which, well, they said he wasn't being the gentleman he should be. Listen to this here.
What are you most excited to see tonight?
To see?
Yeah, well, I know that you probably watched a few of the movies. Are you excited to see anybody win? Do you have your hopes up for anyone?
No one in particular.
Okay, well, what are you wearing tonight then?
Just my suit.
Your suit? Who
Yeah.
made your suit? You didn't make it.
I can't remember, my tailor.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Shout out to the tailor.
Yeah.
So tell me, what does it feel like to be in Glass Onion? It was such an amazing film. I really loved it. I love a thriller. How fun is it to shoot something like that?
Well, I'm barely in it. I'm in it for about 3 seconds.
Yeah, but still, you showed up and you had fun, right?
Almost.
Okay, all right. Okay. Well, thank you so much. It was nice to talk to you.
Yeah.
All right, back to you guys.
Now, because of that, we have a panel. And AH's pal here, she gets wrecked by people that kind of agree with her. That's the real kicker here. They agree, and yet, again, the way they try to go after people, they try to go after men, does not fly. It's amazing to see people agree with you and yet still wreck you because you wreck yourself. Oh, fun times, huh? Fun times indeed. Let's get started, by the way, and hey there.
Charlotte, when did it die?
I think it's been dead actually for quite a long period of time, but I think women now are less willing to enjoy what we might call benevolent sexism.
Now, this argument right here actually turns the panel against her, which is hilarious. Again, one of AH's real-life friends, they weaponize this same argument against JD. What is benevolent sexism, by the way?
The idea that men take a paternalistic role in looking after women by opening the doors or handing them their coat. What it does.
So opening the door there, that is benevolent sexism. And you would think this person was taking up for Hugh Grant. No. They're just going off the rails here. And again, watch the reaction of the panel. I love it when people own themselves in interviews.
Is reinforce existing gender stereotypes, that a man behaves in such a way and a woman conforms to what's expected of her. And I think many people...
Now, this is going to become a whataboutism argument. By the way, if you're battling people handing you your coat, you're living a pretty comfortable life compared to people that truly need to be advocated for. But listen to the whataboutism.
People have sort of had enough of that, particularly those that advocate for equality. Benevolent sexism in and of itself can be very harmful to the progression of equality. And my focus is on deeds, not words.
By the way, it's not a deed to open a door for somebody. It's not a deed to hand somebody their coat. That's somehow words. Not really understanding that, but okay.
I'm not so interested in whether a man opens the door. I'm more interested in whether he's going to work to end sexual harassment in the workplace or help end
See all the eye rolling and stuff? It's beautiful.
1 in 4 women being raped or sexually assaulted.
Okay. I mean, we were just talking about chivalry, not necessarily going as deep as that. Let's bring in Amy at this point. I mean, do you think that, as was being claimed there, that Hugh Grant really is sort of anti-women?
Well, look.
So again, you see how that went off the rails for 1/8 of this conversation. And you would think Proudman would actually be taken up for Hugh Grant. Maybe that's where that's going. No, that was just a rant. It was a rant to target this idea of nicety, of showing somebody some kind of civility. Anyway, listen to this.
I looked up the definition of chivalry in the Cambridge Dictionary, and it actually said polite, honest, kind, especially by men towards women. I have a 6-year-old son, and I am raising him to be all that and more. I don't want him to be impolite. I don't want him to be dishonest, and I don't want him to be rude. Simple as that. So chivalry is alive and well. My husband, a lovely British gentleman, got down on one knee and proposed to me, was quite chivalrous during our courtship.
I'd have got down on 2 knees.
And he still is, and I appreciate that, and I still consider myself a feminist, but I appreciate chivalry, and it still exists.
So what do you want to say to that, Charlotte?
Now look at how Proudman actually talks down to the guest here. I love this stuff.
Well, I mean, obviously, if you enjoy chivalry, then, good luck to you. I'm glad that you're married to an English gentleman. I personally wouldn't want to be. I'd want to be treated with equality and respect and mutuality in the same way. So, if the man's going to open a door for you, then I hope that you're also going to reciprocate in the same.
Who says that you can't reciprocate, by the way? Nicety is not a one-way street, but apparently being nice, depending on, again, they have this idea of equality, and yet they turn things into male-female. Watch what they do with Hugh Grant. That's what this is going to become.
Way. And as I say, I'm more concerned about what they're going to do to help women gain equality rather than doing the odd notion examples of benevolent sexism. What I think we saw with Hugh Grant, which is supposed to be the issue of the interview, was him speaking down to a woman.
Not to an interviewer, by the way. No, the interviewer now became a woman. So even though we've had this lecture going on, you might connect saying, well, okay, this is what it was supposed to be. No, that was just something where, again, the panel's like, what in the world are you going on about? She's talking about equality. That's the only way I could make that work out. Then equality's right out the window. It's a man talking to a woman. Don't look at the interviewer as an interviewer and an interviewee. I can't do that.
And speaking these very short, sharp responses, which no doubt may have made her feel slightly humiliated. I don't want to speak for her, but I can imagine myself feeling that way rather than engaging in conversation. Actually, I just thought it was incredibly rude and blunt, not necessarily.
Blunt? Sure, I could go with blunt. I mean, look at the environment there. Look at the inane conversation. Hugh Grant is also a presenter here. He's a main presenter. Yeah, would you want to spend all your time being like, yeah, look at these inane questions. What fun times there.
Really an example of any gentleman or any man for that matter.
Well, I felt that he was simply dry, sarcastic, quick-witted, and wry. I think that Ashley Graham did zero research. Her questions were silly and inane, and he was going to give her that right back, and he did. I don't think he was rude at all in his answers.
He's also having problems hearing. You notice that. He's having to lean in. He's trying to listen there. I mean, I'm sure time crunch. You have all this stuff going on in the background. But again, this is anti-woman. That's how they were describing it.
Matter of fact, what he said actually went right over her head when he mentioned that it's Vanity Fair, and she actually thought he was referring to the after party. So, and also he was presenting at the awards with Andie MacDowell after having not worked with her in 29 years. He's a veteran actor of 40 years. She asked him nothing substantial, and it was quite embarrassing, in my opinion, her line of questioning.
Well, who on earth does ask anything substantial?
Now, substantial? Oh, no. Who cares about context? Man bad.
The Oscars or any
many
other
people, many journalists.
Sadly,
Ashley Graham is not a journalist.
It's a classic dynamic of a man.
Now listen to this. The classic dynamic of a man, listen to all the descriptors.
And a woman, and a man taking power and ownership of that conversation and saying, I'm not going to play this game and I don't need to because I'm a wealthy, established, powerful, white, privileged, famous man.
I'm a wealthy, established, white, privileged... I swear, every buzzword, throw in the kitchen sink. Again, same way that they tried to take out JD. It's meaningless there.
Disagree.
She was trying to engage him in that conversation.
I completely disagree. I thought he gave very short answers, but to the point. He had a great interview. I think from his perspective, what was so rude about it? She asked stupid questions. He gave her basic answers. If she asked more intelligent questions, he probably would have given more intelligent answers.
And people commenting on it. Obviously wasn't that great, was it? Because we're here having this discussion now.
Well, I think it's more of a...
Because you're having an inane conversation. This is as meaningless as the other conversation. Only the meaningful part is they're trying to target Hugh Grant. They're trying to take his career down over what? Over a freaking interview that means nothing. I mean, at one time, an interview like that, they're just throwaway interviews. And they are. They are throwaway interviews. I swear. Even if you don't like Hugh Grant in that, saying This makes him anti-woman. This is preposterous notion.
Cultural issue, actually. I think she was being typically American and he was being typically British, and that's ultimately what happened.
Let me ask you.
Go on.
Right. You often point out, as a feminist, you would use these terms as a feminist, I would like to say. Now, also, I would like to say about you is you're not adverse to somebody pulling a chair
Love
out
chivalry.
for you. And
Yeah,
you
I
love-
don't think they're mutually exclusive at all.
Right? So if you were Ashley Graham on that carpet the other night, how offended would you have been or not?
Oh, I'd have been hugely offended, and I'd have thought
Man, there's a lot of people that get offended really easily, right? They should have people actually target them or worse. I mean, usually what people do. But hey, I guess that doesn't matter if they do it to folks like us, right? Because number one, we're not journalists, even though we research things, unlike, hey, just go out and ask inane questions. And number two, I guess that dynamic, all the buzzwords, they don't work my way.
he was a very, very rude individual, and I do think he's incredibly unnecessarily disrespectful to her, and I don't think he was typically British. I have to say, I do disagree with Amy on that. I do think he could have been more chivalrous, but I also disagree with Charlotte that being chivalrous is necessarily derogatory to women. I think you can be a feminist and you can have good manners and you can be respectful to women. And I think that, I'm bringing up...
Good manners is not chivalry, by the way. Good manners and being respectful. It's just being respectful. I mean, it's kind of absurdity.
My boy, what makes a man, manners make a man, and I will always repeat that mantra, and I also will raise him to respect women. Since you asked.
Why are we raising men to treat women differently? We don't raise women to treat men differently. We're thinking about equality within the workplace or equality generally within society, then we need to recognize that the sexes should be treating each other in the same way. So I'm curious as to why you bring up your son in that way.
Because society isn't yet equal, as you point out, and it's trying to teach them to help correct society.
How is opening a door progress for equality?
No, well, I'm not suggesting that. I'm saying that's...
Again, back on an inane argument. How is opening a door? What does that have to do with Hugh Grant? Oh, it doesn't. It just gives you that window to attack people because of gentlemen. Again, same loaded attack that's been used so many times. I remember it very well, used in the UK by Proudman, of course, always. Anyway, continue.
Just manners and chivalry.
Can I just say, yesterday with my incapacitation,
Yeah.
who opened the doors for me everywhere?
That's just manners, yeah.
Yeah, but I love you for that.
I know. I actually think, genuinely, you are a feminist. You are married to a strong woman. You put up with a very strong woman day after day sitting next to you here. Put up with, don't always enjoy. And yet you're very chivalrous. You've got lovely manners, and you're a good example.
So you and I are of agreement that this can work both ways.
100%.
You can have your cake and eat it on that.
You might find it hard sitting next to me, but
No.
it's a good thing.
But Charlotte, it's very interesting hearing what you have to say, and in today's society and how things should be. So, Dr. Charlotte Proudman, she thinks Hugh Grant bang out of order. Amy Ansell beside me here thinking he was okay. He was
great. I thought he gave great answers. I think the interview got off on the wrong foot because, unfortunately, she didn't understand. She asked a question and she didn't understand his answer. Went right over her head, and he thought, "Okay, I know who I'm dealing with now."
Oh my God, that is seriously sexist language to say. She didn't understand the question.
It's seriously sexist language. Again, we have equality, unless sexism. 1 minute more of this.
It went seriously over her head.
It could have been a man doing the same interview. Could have gone over his head too.
You would never say that. You would never say that about a man in the same context.
I would have if it was a man doing the interview. If it was Ryan.
Oh yeah, man. There are plenty of guys. Ryan Seacrest. He's one that people talk about all the time. Just right over his head.
Ryan Seacrest or anyone else on the red carpet.
Straight over his head. Okay.
Yeah.
It's very gendered language.
It's wording. It has nothing to do with
very
sex.
gendered conversation between
Not at all.
Ashley Graham and Hugh Grant and the way that he treated her, which I don't think, by the way, he would have done if that was a man interviewing him. And for me, that's what I always ask myself. Would the same have happened if the gender roles were reversed?
I think
Charlotte, how would you like it if someone said, was it fun representing that rape victim? She said, was it fun doing that film? He's an actor of over 40 years with tremendous experience. She said, was it fun shooting that film? Clearly, she had no respect for his craft.
Shooting a film got to do with representing a rape victim.
Well, you brought all that up, didn't you, Charlotte? I mean, it's so weird. Anyway, 8 seconds.
Okay. Well, without
it's not.
offending either
It's
of
your
you,
career.
if we could
It's your
just-
career.
I could just-
all day.
In the
Bring the
case of
popcorn.
myself, but
So this ends in chaos, and it is a prime example of one of those AH defenders, one of AH's BFFs, trying to apply the same argument they did with JD, but as a resounding failure. It's amazing. Even in company that agrees, you still end up destroying yourself. But anyway, let me know what you think about this. And as always, appreciate the heck out of you. You make this stuff work. Thank you. Can't say that enough. Want to help out the channel? Links are in the description. Check those out. You being here, though, that is the biggest help. So thank you. Appreciate you. Ending here. See you soon.